try to find the sunny side of life.
Hi, I'm Harry Marks, and this is Let's All Go to the Lobby, your introduction to the film you're about to watch. Up next is Merian Cooper's and Ernest Schoedsack's monster movie about a beauty, a beast, and a thrilling fight atop the Empire State Building. From RKO Pictures in 1933, this is King Kong, which turned 90 years old this month. King Kong is known for two big reasons, the first being its leading lady, Fay Wray. In order to get her to join the picture, director and producer Merian Cooper assured her that she would have, quote, the tallest, darkest leading man in Hollywood. Wray thought he meant Cary Grant. But she broke new ground in the role. Long before Jamie Lee Curtis would fend off against Michael Myers in 1978's Halloween, Fay Wray became cinema's first scream queen. After she had completed filming, the actress spent one day in the sound studio recording all her various screams heard throughout the film. She called the session her, quote, aria of the agonies. And the other reason the film is still remembered to this day, of course, is Kong himself. Bringing a 20-foot-tall gorilla to life was no easy task. That job was entrusted to special effects artist Willis H. O'Brien and his assistant animator, Buzz Gibson. The pair spent weeks creating and animating the creatures of Skull Island for the silver screen. O'Brien had actually gotten his start working for Thomas Edison, making stop-motion films as early as 1916. He carried those skills over to King Kong, devising new ways to portray a giant ape terrorizing New York as convincingly as possible. The stop-motion process was grueling, since the crew realized quickly that stopping for any length of time would cause their lights to burn and dim, ruining the lighting of a particular shot. They worked non-stop. The epic fight between Kong and the T-Rex, for example, took 7 weeks to animate. Many of the animated sequences were eventually cut from the final film, including a terrifying scene in which Kong shakes 4 sailors off a log bridge, only for them to be devoured by giant spiders below. The sequence was only shown once during a preview screening in January of 1933. Audience members either shrieked and left the theater, or spent the remainder of the time talking about it. Cooper realized it was too gruesome to keep, so he took out the scene the following day. In fact, much of King Kong was lost to the ages, including scenes where Ray's clothing was removed. This happened as the film was re-released over the next several decades, with questionable and horrific sequences being cut to appease the changing tastes of both the audiences and the censors. This makes King Kong, like Metropolis before it, something of a lost film, as the true director's cut doesn't really exist anymore. But one scene that has endured for the last 90 years is the iconic battle on top of the Empire State Building. For much of the film, Kong was portrayed as being 18 feet tall, but once he reached the shores of New York City, he was scaled up to 24 feet. In some scenes, he was even made to look 60 feet tall, but this was for good reason. On the Empire State Building, for example, an 18-foot-tall gorilla would have gotten lost on screen, but not a 24-foot-tall gorilla. His size was changed to accommodate the needs of the scene throughout the picture. The climax atop the Empire State Building is still one of the most enduring and recognizable scenes in all of cinema. In fact, when Fay Wray died in 2004, the real Empire State Building darkened its lights in remembrance. Unsurprisingly, King Kong was a financial and critical success, and is revered today for the technological wizardry it took to make a giant ape feel as real as anything computers can do today. Starring Fay Wray, Robert Armstrong, and Bruce Cabot, here's one of, if not the greatest horror film ever made from RKO Pictures. It's King Kong.